Hello, this is Ashley Cowton, and this is Module 3, Leadership Styles and Ethics, Perfect Mixture for Success. So professional values and ethics. So according to the article Professional Values and Ethics by Chan, professional values and ethics are beliefs and principles that an individual possesses to guide oneself to evaluate what is right and wrong in a professional environment. In short, it is the imaginary moral line that one would have internally to uphold professional actions. And just another snippet from another article, Professional Values and Ethics by Porchangzi. Professional values are guiding beliefs and principles that influence one's behavior. These values are usually an extension of one's personal values such as honesty, responsibility, integrity, and are unique to each person based on one's family, culture, environment, religion, and ethnicity. And according to professional values and ethics, professional ethics are the principles and standards that govern one's behavior in professional environment. And then just another look at it by Bromley. Ethical leadership in education is driven by a respect for values and an unfaltering belief in the dignity and rights of others. Ethical leaders build school cultures governed by fair, clearly articulated expectations rather than cultures driven by personalities or politics. So as a leader in a school, you definitely want to make sure that you have your professional values and ethics in check to help you be a good leader. So LSCTE and PN, that stands for leadership style, characteristics, ethics, and professional norms. And now we're going to take a look at what I believe my leadership style is. So strong leadership in education matters because it helps the staff and students work together. And strong leadership can also provide staff with support when and where needed. My personal leadership style would be to developing a trusting, equal, and ethical relationships with my colleagues and staff members along with the students. I believe that a great leader has a good support system, and I want to make sure that the staff and students in my school know that they can come to me with anything, and then that way they're more apt to follow what I have to say. I also always want to make sure that educational technology provides constructive learning, which Goonie in the Professional Ethics in Performance in Educational Technology article stated was important. I also have a master's in instructional technology, so I am very passionate in making sure that we provide education with technology so that we can help prepare our students for the technological world that they are entering. And I also believe that you can lead by example. So I respect and obey the law and demonstrate personal integrity. I live in a small town and everybody knows your business. So as a member of the school, both inside and outside of the school, I really have to watch what I'm doing because eyes are always on me. Okay, my characteristics. So I actually work at the pool. During the summer, I manage the lifeguards, the pool house attendants. I do all the fun things, which means I work with a bunch of high schoolers that I also used to have as students. So I asked them to kind of help me how they would describe me as a teacher and as a leader and as a boss. And I agree with these. I do believe that I'm assertive. I mean what I say. If I say I'm going to be there to help you do X, Y, and Z, then you better believe I'm going to show up and do X, Y, and Z. My staff at the pool, they understand that if A is not done correctly, B will be the consequence, and that's just how it goes. My guards like that because they know what to expect, and I believe that works well in the classroom because my kids know what to expect, and as a leader in the building, it would be good for the staff as well because they know what to expect. I'm also authoritative. I do want to push my colleagues to pursue common goals while balancing and maintaining a high bar and inspiring my colleagues to succeed. And when norms are agreed upon, I stick to them, and I also expect the others to do the same, which is from the Power of Team Norms article. So basically, I'm working to be my best self in my career. We're all there for the kids. We all want to make sure that the kids are reaching certain goals. And so I do what I can to help inspire my colleagues to make sure that they're helping the kids get there. It talked about norms, things that we expect from ourselves and from others. Believe that in a school, the norm is always that you want to help the kids learn as much as they can. And that is something I stick to, and I expect others to do the same. I'm also empathetic. I've gone through a lot of different circumstances in my 36 years of life. And because of that, I think it helps me really understand what's going on in other people's lives. And I'm willing to help them work around or through their own circumstances. And the article written by Forster, Is Learning More Important Than Well-Being? They said that the Australian professional standards for teachers emphasize student well-being is important to learning, which I totally believe. If you are not in the right mindset, learning isn't going to happen. If you are worried about what your parents are going to say because you did such and such, you're not going to be able to focus on school. If you're super hungry because you didn't get breakfast that morning because your parents can't afford it, you're not going to be able to focus on school. Our kids are coming to school with more and more mental baggage each day, and it really affects their day-to-day lives in school and how they learn. So my ethics, from the article, Conceptualizing Professional Ethics, Norms, and Standards in the 21st Century, they say that it's important that the teachers should possess professional ethics. And then from ethics and education are important because they assist to run the system smoothly. The ethics set the standards of what's acceptable and what's not. I think that's very important that people understand what's acceptable and what's not. I do believe that each school is going to have their own set of ethics that they live by. Once again, I'm from a small community, a rural community. The majority of my students go to church. They come from members of church-going families, and that all of those different aspects really shape the ethics of our school. And I understand that not every school is going to be the same. So I am aware of my professional environment of the school that I teach in, meaning all the things that I just said, the fact that we're a rural community, the types of families that my kids come from. And I do understand that because it's a small community, I have to make sure that I'm professional both inside the classroom during school hours and outside. I do respect the values and diversity of the school members and the community members of the town I live in. I do my very best to leave my opinions and beliefs at the door when I enter either the school building or any school event. I'm fine with students knowing my opinions on certain things, but I always want to make sure that I can facilitate conversations and help them learn so that they can form their own opinions about anything and everything. And And I try to not do anything intentionally to suppress or distort the subject matter relevant to the student's progress. As teachers, we all go in wanting to make sure that we're helping the students progress. So hopefully there's not any teacher out there that does things on purpose to keep kids from progressing. I think my ethics for my life is ultimately I try to be a good person. The way I guide myself is if something I'm going to say or something I'm going to do is not something I can do or say in front of my grandma, then I better not do it. And this applies to me all the time when I'm around the students and when I'm around the community members. So my professional norms, what are my expectations for myself, and ultimately the other people around me, the people that I work with. I do take an inquiry stance, and I do this in all places in life. I have a genuine curiosity about everything. I want to know why. Okay, if you're going to come and tell me that I need to post my objectives on the board, I want you to tell me why you want me to do that and how that's going to benefit the students. I want to know the research behind it. Also, not because I'm being critical or upset about it. It's because you're going to get me to buy into it if I can understand why. I also try very hard to assume positive intentions, and I do always take responsibility for impact. Sometimes it's really hard whenever you're in meetings, especially IEP meetings, where we departmentalize, so there's 5 or 6 of teachers in there. Sometimes it is hard to be like, man, is this person do they really come at this with the best of intentions? But I do always try to do that because in my head, I'm like, we're all teachers. Surely nobody is going to do anything to harm the students. And I am a big person where I take responsibility for what I do or say and how it can affect others. I don't want anybody upset by something I say. So we'll leave a staff meeting, or if I was in a leadership meeting and something got hot and heated because we're passionate about what we're talking about and passionate about our own opinions, I always take the time to reach out to whatever person that I felt like maybe they thought I was directing things at them. And I let them know, hey, I'm sorry if I made you feel a certain way. You've got great ideas too. Just because I want to make sure that we can work together forever. And I want them to know that I make mistakes also. And I apologize to my students quite a bit too. Like, hey, I messed up here. I'm sorry that I did this, because I think it's super impactful whenever an adult tells a 10-year-old, hey, I messed up, because then they can see that that's normal to come out and say that. I do try to hear all voices. I think about this a lot. I'm the head of the negotiations committee, so I'm the voice of the certified staff when it comes to working on our contract. And this year it was super heated, and I'd have my own opinions, and then I'd hear all the rumors about what other people are thinking. And in my head, I'm like, that's ridiculous. Why don't we just do it this way? But after people would come to me one-on-one and explain to me why they feel the way that they do, it really did help me form an opinion by hearing all the sides. And I think if you can hear all opinions, you're going to have a clearer picture in your head, and then you can have that educated opinion. A big thing in my life is I want to start on time. Punctuality is super important to me, because I want everyone to know that their time is just as important as mine. And I do that outside of school too. I'm also empathetic when things come up for myself and others. we're all human. Things happen. We might be running late. Totally get it, as long as, somebody can shoot a text or shoot me an email and be like, hey, sorry, I was late for this reason. It happens to all of us. And then I think my main norm, that especially the older I get, the more I try to live by this, is just to be a good person. Be nice to people, do unto others what you want done to you. I feel like being a good person is an all-encompassing, and it helps me be a good leader and a good educator. So I do know that there are places where I need to grow, especially in my classroom as a teacher. I do have very high expectations for behavior. Like I said, my main class is 4th grade, but I teach 4th, 5th, and 6th grade math. 4th grade is my homeroom. And I do expect a lot out of my kids behavior-wise. And I think, especially after looking at this past year, that I am putting too much pressure on the kids for the grades, for being in 4th grade. I need to work on adapting so I can meet them at their level, at what they're capable of, but still work towards teaching them how to be good and respectful people. I also think that I need to do better spending time to develop relationships with my students. I teach math, like I said, to 4th, 5th, and 6th grade kids. So from the moment they step into my room, when the bell rings, to the moment the ending bell rings, we are hitting the pavement running. It's math, 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 work, 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 answer questions, do what we can. And really that makes it super difficult to develop relationships. But I know that with my homeroom kids, there are things that I can do to build relationships, but sometimes it just seems so overwhelming when I have so many math papers to grade, lots of other stuff that I'm always trying to do. But I do need to make working on those relationships a priority. I do not feel equipped to deal with any sort of crisis management or social media crisis communication. The article written by Superville, The Pandemic Upended Principals' Jobs, that author said that these are two areas that occupy a considerable portion of school leaders' time, and principals told researchers that they needed additional assistance and support. When you throw something out on social media, it's there, and especially when you're in a professional setting, that's kind of scary because, there's comment sections. There's people that have no filter when they're behind a keyboard. So before I would get into a leadership role with my school, that is something I'd really like to spend do some PD stuff with, take some classes on, to figure out how do we manage leading in a world where social media is the norm, where people look to social media for their news. So that is definitely an area that I know I can grow in. Then the correlation. So this project really helped me reflect on my own dispositions, which obviously isn't always easy. After doing this, it was made apparent to me that there are things that I need to do to make sure that I'm going to become a good leader for my building. Through this assignment, I realized that I do a good job communicating with my building leader and my colleagues any thoughts, concerns, ideas, or whatever I have, along with why I think those things. I also realized that I need to not always be so headstrong in my ideas, because since I was a young girl, it's always been my way. Let me drill it into your head why I think my way's better. So as a leader, I really need to learn to not be so much like that, and that learning that listening to others can help turn my one idea into a great idea that meets everybody's needs. Through this assignment, I also realized that I need to cultivate my professional development mostly in my characteristics. I do sometimes feel like I can just be plain bossy and not authoritative. I really like to tell people, or especially kids, be like, hey, this is what I need you to do. And in our busy days, it's really easy to do that. But it's also super important to be like, hey, this is what I need you to do and why. Why is it that I expect this from you? Because then they can learn why. I do model my professional dispositions and norms. I want this to be how I live my day-to-day life along with my professional life. I want to always know the why to everything. I try to find the good in people. I'm good at owning my mistakes, living up to my responsibilities, and seeing how my mistakes make other people feel. Like I said, being on time is very important, and I do try to be a good person. One thing I could work on is not forming an opinion until I hear all sides, but I have been doing much better at adapting my opinions after I hear all information. This presentation helped demonstrate that I have the capacity to support fairness, integrity, transparency, trust, digital citizenship, collaboration, perseverance, reflection, and lifelong learning. So I can do all that by being open, honest about my current situations, following through, in our college classes, not copying verbatim without giving the proper credit to where credit is due. It's really making me reflect on myself, and it's helping me work towards my next goal. And this presentation also demonstrated that I have the capacity to support educational success and well-being of each student and adult, because while I was working on this, I really was reflecting on the way I treat other people and my reasoning for doing so. Okay, relevancy. Through this project, I've learned that ultimately I do always have good intentions. Maybe the way I've handled things doesn't look like that, but when I go into something, I do always have good intentions. And I will always put in the work to reach my goals. I also learned that there are so many different aspects that go into being a good school leader. Over the course of the Building Leadership program, I'm hoping that I can grow in all those areas. My strengths: I'm headstrong, I'm hardworking, assertive, I'm professional, and I'm friendly and easy to talk to. My weaknesses: I am stubborn. Sometimes I'm not always certain and confident in my decisions. I'm critical of myself, my work, my colleagues. Like I said, I'm not always confident, and sometimes I really do have too high of expectations for myself and others, which sometimes is good, but sometimes it's really hard to meet unattainable goals. So personal reflection: how can I address my weaknesses? Like I said before, I really need to listen to people at all sides before I form an opinion or make a decision. I need to be more willing to listen to other people's ideas and adapt my ideas to those. As a school leader, I'm going to need to be confident in my decisions. To do this, one thing I think would be studying and really understanding our school's policies, and then understanding the community's ethics and values of where I work. And then I also need to understand my staff, understand their needs and the needs of my students as well. Knowing all those things will help me make confident decisions. And I need to make sure that the expectations that I have for myself and the people around me are attainable and that I adjust them accordingly. I will enhance my strengths that I already have by making sure that all the staff and students know that my door is always open, and I'll be happy to help them work through any problems, help them figure out and build on ideas, and always to help celebrate their successes, no matter how big or small. I'm also going to work hard to make sure that my staff are meeting and maintaining expectations while also working to better themselves. That might be hard at first, but once those expectations are set, it won't take long, and they're going to just be doing those things automatically. And then who do I have to reach out to if I need help or support or guidance? So my second grade teacher, Linda Ziegler, she went on to be a principal and then a superintendent at the Quinter School District. She's also done a bunch of research, and she's published a bunch of books on things, and she is still a wonderful mentor of mine. I do reach out to her often, as is, for any advice or just a sounding board that I need or somebody to talk to that's been there. So she would be a great resource and support or guidance. My superintendent, wherever I'm working, I hope that that is somebody that would be a great resource. I feel like I should be able to talk to them when I need something, as they're my leader. And then my current principal, who will probably be retiring in a couple years, would also be a great resource for me for anything that I might need in my professional career. He's just a great person. So, and then my references using the 12 or the 10 articles. So, okay, thank you so much.